Hey y'all, what's going on? This is Jesse Both from the 19th hole. I'm going to do the Pro Expert guide for the upcoming tournament. It's actually the pre-guide. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go through the holes 1 through 9. We're going to talk about the different routes that are available, and we'll talk about club selection, ball selection, and elevation changes as well during this video. So this is for the East Coast tournament, and this course combines Southern Pines and City Park course together to create a 9-hole course for the upcoming tournament. So we're going to go ahead and get started here in just a second. Alright, so we are going to start out here with hole number 1, and we start out here with a par 4. So hole 1, par 4, and a couple different ways that you can play this hole. We'll first talk about playing the shot to the right first. So to play the shot to the right, as far as your ball goes, you want a ball with some side spin. So Kingmaker would definitely be a good choice of ball here. So from the second tee here, your shot's going to go to the right side. You're going to be looking to land it in the fairway, right about in that area. And either you're going to have enough topspin to bounce here and over the bunker, or hit here with enough right spin to go past the bunker to the right-hand side. No matter which way you decide to go, you want your shot to end up in the fairway up there, in one of those two spots, in that spot. So plus 10% on the drive. And then for your second shot, it's also going to be plus 10%. And in my opinion, playing it this way is going to open you up to the best chance at the eagle, because from here you're going to be playing a wood, a sniper shot. So you'll bounce it on the fairway and then roll it up onto the green, and hopefully get you that nice roll. The green does slope from right to left, so definitely be sure to factor in that roll when you are setting up that shot. And it may be to a point, depending on where you land your shot. If you land the shot a little bit closer up to the edge of the green, then it actually may be a little bit closer to 0%. It does slope on this fairway right here. So depending on how far you land your shot on that fairway, it could change your elevation. So if you land the shot farther before the fairway, then I will just go ahead and go with the plus 10%. If you're going to land it much closer up to the front of the green, then you're looking at more of a 0%, I would say. Definitely play that one by eyesight. And if you feel like your landing spot is about equal to where you're taking your shot from, 0%. If you still feel it's downhill, then plus 10% is the way you want to go with that one. The other option is to play this one to the left-hand side. And the way we play this to the left-hand side is a shot that comes up to the fairway here. It's going to bounce here in the fairway. And with top spin and right spin, you want to direct it up into this area of the fairway. Definitely make sure that you stay away from that bunker. It can get you. And also make sure you pay attention to that great left, because the rough could get you as well over there. So for your second shot, you have kind of two options from here. You can play the shot around the edge of these bunkers right here, and try to land it in here towards the green, or you could go for a rough bump right here, which is my favorite. I've always kind of preferred the rough bump here on this shot. Do keep in mind though, for the rough bump, you may either need a short iron or a long iron. So definitely make sure you pack a club that has the topspin needed to get out of that rough, and you're going to need anywhere from 3 to 5 bars of topspin to get out of that rough most likely. So definitely keep that in mind when you are setting up your bag for this hole. Also keep in mind, if you adjust your shot from the rough bump down into these bunkers, you will need to push up your shot ever so slightly, because you need to compensate for adjusting down in elevation into those bunkers. So definitely keep that in mind as well. If you're playing the shot around the bunker, definitely bring a club with lots of backspin, and you'll be using a lot of backspin and left spin and left curl to kind of curl that shot into the green. So definitely keep that in mind as well. Alright, next up we got hole number 2, and we got a par 4 here, or par 3. Now we can play this one basically two possible ways, and it's going to depend on what kind of wind we have. As far as the elevation goes, we're going to play plus 10% no matter what here on this shot. Now for the shot, we're landing it up in this area right here. The question becomes, do we have tailwind or do we have side headwind? If we have a tailwind, we can play our wood club. If we're playing our wood club, we're going to play with about 1 bar topspin, and we're going to use max right spin. And then the curl is really going to depend on what kind of wind we have. If we have a straight tailwind, you're probably not going to need much curl at all, maybe just a little tiny bit. If you have a left to right tailwind, I would not use any curl. If you have a right to left tailwind, then you're going to want to use, at least about a half a ball of curl for that shot. So if we have a headwind, now this is the tricky part. If we have a headwind, you'll most likely use a driver. You land it pretty much the same exact spot as you would land, the wood, except, you're not going to have the luxury to adjust back because of the headwind. You'll be in between clubs. So what you're going to do is you're going to go with somewhere around 2 to 3 bars of backspin. You're going to use as much right spin as you can use, and you're going to use basically do the same thing as you do with the wood. You're going to take the shot up the hill and then let it curl back down to the hole. If you get too far up this hill right here, you kind of get stuck in a little bit of a channel right here. That will feed your ball down that way, away from the hole. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just takes away your chances of getting a hole-in-one on the hole. So definitely be very mindful of the spins that you use, because you want to go up the hill far enough to get momentum to give you a chance at the ace. But you got to find that fine line where too far is too far. And you don't want to hit that, because then you will completely take yourself out of chance for the ace. So it's definitely a very interesting hole. I would say, definitely a ball with side spin. So looking at a katana ball or a kingmaker ball or some sort of a wind ball, that gives you the side spin 3. I think that side spin 3 is definitely a very important stat to have on this hole. All right, hole number 3 is next, and we got our first par 5 here. For this hole right here, I would definitely recommend a long wood club, and I would recommend a driver with your best accuracy and your best ball guide. If we don't have a complete straight tailwind, or if you can't get your shot over the rough and stuff with enough topspin, you're going to be taking your shot to right here. So all you want to do is make sure that you use a drive that's going to consistently get you to that spot on the fairway. So plus 10% for the drive. For the second shot from this location, I'm going to say plus 10% again. What we're going to do is, with a wood club, you are going to take your shot over the rough to this middle rough. You're going to land it on this fairway here and try to bring it up this fairway here. You either want to end up right here, just in front of the bunker, or if you want to get a little riskier, you could try to get a little bit riskier and end up just to the right of the bunker. And those will be your two options. So play conservative and in front of the bunker, or play a little riskier past the bunker. For your third shot, it's going to be going uphill. So we are playing an uphill shot here, so minus 10% on your elevation. Your option is to either go right at the pin or play the slope on the back of this green and try to roll it back down to the hole for the possible eagle. This is going to be a tough hole. You probably won't see a lot of eagles on this hole, especially in the pro division. In the expert division, it could be possible that we will get a really nice tailwind, and if that does happen, you will need to use most likely a berserker or snow globe, and then you're also going to want to at least have a driver with at least 6 bars of topspin on it. So what you're going to do is you're going to land your shot here with the max topspin and try to get yourself over into this next fairway. Most likely what will happen is you'll bounce in the rough here and then hopefully roll out here onto this fairway. And that's going to be the best case scenario with a really nice tailwind. And this is going to be something that you would see in the expert division. Of course, the drive would be plus 10%. And then for this second shot, you're going to be using either like a Max Guardian would do, or a very high level Big Dog or Cataclysm for your second shot. So your second shot is going to bounce right here in front of the bunker and then up onto the green. And I would play that second shot at minus 10% for the second shot right there, because the second fairway does, slightly slope upwards, from the middle part to the back end. So I would play minus 10% for that second shot, playing it that way. And let's see, I think that's about it on this hole. All right, and yeah, if you're gonna play that shot, you're looking at probably a Berserker, I would say. And then for the shot before that, like a Titan, Kingmaker, or Power 4 ball would probably be the best way to play that hole for sure. All right, next hole we got is hole number 4. And we got a par 4 here. So for this hole right here, we'll play plus 10% off the tee box for sure. As far as your clubs goes, you're going to be looking at the either the Thorn or the Hornet for your short iron, and that really just becomes a matter of personal preference. I like the Sniper for your wood, and then as far as your long iron goes, I think the Goliath would be a really good choice to use, or even possibly a Backbone, depending on where you get in the fairway. Hopefully you're far enough up, though, to use your short iron, because that's really what you want to do. You want to be within your Thorn or Hornet range for your short iron. Ball-wise, I would go with a Power 3 ball or a Power 2 Katana ball at the minimum on this hole as well. And you can either play it off your drive to land it here or up here on the fairway. So if you land it to the first right area, you'll be using full topspin and left spin, trying to bounce it underneath this tree right here and up the fairway. If you're playing it to the left side, you're going to be playing kind of a similar shot, except you're going to be using topspin and right spin. So you'll use somewhere about 4 to 5 bars of topspin and max right spin to bounce this shot underneath the tree and up the fairway. Playing it to the left side, you can probably get your shot a little bit farther up the fairway than playing it to this right side. So that would be the way definitely to get closer into closer long iron range or short iron range for your second shot, that you want to play to the front edge of the green. And then you're going to use some backspin and a little bit of side spin depending on the wind push to direct that shot toward the hole. For the second shot, I would look at probably plus 0%, so no elevation change. Depending on where you are on the fairway, it may look downhill for your second shot. And if you feel like you're in a position like that, then you could also play a plus 10%. So kind of play that one by ear or by eye and kind of see where you're at. Another way that people do play this shot is they play their drive up into this area right here, and then they play a sniper shot right here off the rough for a rough bump for a sniper shot. And that is definitely another possible way to play this hole. If I was going to play it that way, I would play my drive with the quarterback or the rock to be very accurate on my drive position and set myself up in the best possible position for that sniper rough bump. So that's definitely another interesting way to play this hole. There's also possible power curl, where you're trying to land your shot right in this area right here. And that would definitely require a Power 5 ball to hit your shot. What you want to do is you're going to go right here along the edge of this water in the air. You want to hit the rough and then roll out onto the green. That's going to be your optimal outcome. A lot of times people end up in this bunker or in the rough behind the hole. So that's going to be a shot that if you're looking to play that shot, I'm sure you'll be able to see it posted on some of the community forums. And from then you can, depending on what wind we have on the drive, then you can kind of dial in what type of spins will be used for that shot. But it is definitely there, and it will be a possibility, and you will see some people playing it that way. Definitely the more risky approach, but can possibly give you the better chance at the eagle. All right, hole number 5 is next. And we've got another par 3. For this hole, from the second tee, most people are going to be playing their shot right into here with the Goliath. And what basically you're going to do is you're going to bounce your shot over onto the edge of this fringe and then roll it towards the hole that way. And that's going to be the most common way that you see people play this hole. There will still be other people who play the hole straight at the hole as well with lots of backspin and try to do it that way. As far as any other really approaches on this hole, I haven't seen a lot of other approaches on this hole. And, for the most part, most people play the Goliath shot to the left-hand side. And you play this shot with plus 10%. And, as far as your club goes, most people you're going to see playing the Goliath. Kingmaker would be a good ball here, or even like a Win 4, Win 5 ball in some of the higher divisions will be used. So definitely keep your eye out and see what other strategies may surface during this tournament. But it's been a hole that's been around a lot of different times, and as far as I can remember, like from pro and expert, it stays pretty consistent on the way that this hole gets played. All right, hole number 6. And we got a par 5 here. So hole number 6, par 5, plus 10% off the tee box. The ways you can play this hole are either straight up the fairway here, where you try to get as far up into the right of the fairway as possible, and then you have a second shot with a wood club towards the green. Your second shot will be plus 10%, and that's probably the most conservative way to play this hole. You could also play the hole where you take your shot up into here, and then from there you'd have a wood where you bounce it on the fairway and then over the bunker towards the hole that way. That's another way to play this hole, and I'd play plus 10% as well from the right hand side. Another could be a power curl shot where you're trying to land your ball in here around these trees, and either, depending on your spins, go straight up the fairway this way, or just kind of go into this area right here for a rollout. So if you're going to play the more conservative, aggressive approach, you're going to try to get the shot farther up this fairway, up into this zone right here. So we'll have a second shot towards the green for a possible albatross. And that's the way we played this hole last time. Was we had a tailwind, so we'd really tried to aim the shot to land right in here. And we used a power curl, complete power curl, full hook and everything. And the shot went way out here and then landed right there and then bounced over the bunker and straight up the fairway to this area right here. And that's what we played with that shot. And definitely, to play that shot, you'll have to know what type of rings to be able to move, depending on what driver you use. The APOC is definitely the most usable driver on that hole for that particular shot. And you can go to golfclashnotebook.io and you can look up their power slice section, and there's a chart there that gives you the information on your ring adjustments per your driver level. All right, next hole is hole number 7, par 3, and this hole right here, plus 10% off the tee box. For your clubs that you'll be using here will either be your sniper or a Thor high level quarterback, like level 10 quarterback will definitely do here as well. You really want a club with a lot of backspin. I think the most common way you're going to see people playing this shot is off the front edge of this green with like a high-level Thor or quarterback and using backspin and right spin to hit on the green and then roll up the slope and then down to the hole. I think that's going to be the most common way you see this hole played. So definitely it's going to be very important to know your ring adjustments for the hole and know whether or not you're in max, mid, or min length of your club for that adjustment, because if you make a slip up on that, then we're talking about bunkers or we're talking about rough up here behind the hole. If you have a tailwind, you can play a wood shot right here using this left line. And the way that you would play that is, actually, let me redraw that, because it's going to be a little bit more of a curl. The way you would play that is, with a wood club, you'd use 1 bar of topspin, and you would use max right spin. And then you'd also use about 1 to 1.5 balls of curl. What you want the ball to do is land here on the fringe here, and then roll towards the green in that fashion, and then towards the pin. That's definitely another possible way to get the ace as well. If you're going to play that same shot, except you're going to use a wood club, maybe you have some sort of a side wind or a headwind that you want to play that shot in. The only difference is going to be, instead of the top spin, you're going to actually use backspin. So you're going to use like 2 bars of backspin, max right spin, and then curl as well for that shot. You're always going to use that same amount of curl because you want that ball to enter at that same angle towards the green, no matter what club you're using. All right. So, yeah, for the driver, from the left side, it's 2 to 3 bars of backspin for that shot. Now, another shot on this hole that is possible is a shot where you land it right in here with your driver. This would definitely be another side headwind type shot. And from here, you would go with about 1 to 2 bars of backspin. And then as far as your right spin goes, you're going to use about 5 bars of left spin, not right spin, left spin. Basically, what you're trying to do is hit the fairway here with just enough ball speed to roll up that hill and then back down to the hole. And that will be another option to play on this shot. And I would say that would be an option to use if you have like more of a side wind or a lower level headwind. I still say the bump off the front of the green is going to be your best bet at the ace on this hole. But playing the shot to the right side as well with a really good wind could definitely be a play as well. Plus 10% for any of those shots. Just remember that. Hole number 8. And we got a par 4 here. This is a tough par 4. So for this hole right here, I would definitely say bring your big dog. And if you get your drive far enough down the fairway into a good enough position, you may possibly be able to use your sniper as well. Plus 10% for the drive. And if you're just playing the regular shot, you're going to be playing your driver right here. You're going to bounce it right in this area right here, and then just try to roll it up to this zone right there. That's going to be the conservative way to play this hole. From there, you are going to need the big dog or the Cataclysm, in addition to a power ball, like a Titan ball or a Power 4 ball, to get your shot up to the green. You would bounce it on the fairway here on the front with about 2 to 3 bars of topspin. You'll hit on this ridge that slopes down away from the green, and then allow the ball to bounce up to the hole and towards the hole that way. That's the conservative way to play this hole. Now, if you want to play a little bit more aggressively, you can go with a little bit more overpower and curl, or you could play some sort of a power curl shot with like a Thor or something, where the ball hits here, and then with left spin and not a whole lot of top spin, you're going to roll your shot up through the fairway to hopefully in this area. I say not a whole lot of top spin because max top spin can possibly ride you into that bunker. From there, you're going to have a much easier approach to the green in the same fashion, where you bounce it off the ridge and then up to the green. You can also go with like an APOC power curl shot as well, where you try to land your shot farther up in here and then bounce through this gap down to this area right here. From there, you will have a nice little sniper shot towards the hole, much more controlled, and even possibly a sniper rough bump right there, where you could possibly rough bump that shot to the hole as well. Do keep in mind that that rough bump with the sniper is a little bit more difficult because you got to have that adjustment for the elevation correct, and also the ball is bumping off a sloped rough area, so you're going to get a little bit of a different bounce on that shot, and you'll most likely have to factor in some sort of an offset on that shot as well. All these shots, in my opinion, down towards the hole off the fairway are played at plus 10%. If you get down the fairway farther, like in this area right here, then maybe we can think about playing a different percentage. But in my opinion, anything being taken from up in here that way, plus 10% for the second shot. All right, last and final hole here, hole number 9. This has always been a fun hole, in my opinion. Par 5. We're going to play our shot to bounce off this fairway right here, using full right spin and 2 to 3 bars of top spin. Over the rough edge, bounce, and then roll up the fairway to the end. You want to get as far up to that end as possible. From there, and that's plus 5% on the drive. From there, the second shot is going to be playing with the sniper or even the guardian. You can use a guardian here. You're going to bounce it off of that island at minus 10% because it is uphill. The ball is going to bounce over the rough and the bunker, land on the fairway fringe, and roll to the green. And that second shot you would play with about 3 to 4 bars of backspin if you have a tailwind, and then if you have some sort of a headwind, about 2 bars of backspin. And if you have a side wind, I would say closer to the 3.5 bars of backspin for that shot. But it's a minus 10% on the shot, and you definitely want to try to just play that one and judge it as best as you can on the adjustment for the wind, and depending on what those wind angles are, adjust those spins accordingly as well. But yeah, I would say 3.5 topspin on the drive is kind of like that magical key number. If you have a headwind on the drive, then definitely probably will require a little bit more topspin. But for the most part, they usually give us side tailwinds or side winds on this hole in the past. The other way to play this hole would be straight up the left-hand side, which in my opinion is going to be the more conservative way to play this hole, and really not the best chance to do anything. You really definitely want to go for the albatross here, in my opinion. And playing it to the left side is almost of a waste on this hole. But from here, you can just play your shot up the left, try to put yourself in position up in here for a little short wedge chip into the hole. And for that, you'd play plus 10% on the drive. And then from there, I would just play probably a 0% second shot from this side. It's pretty straight and pretty flat from spot to spot, I would say. So anyways, thank you all very much for hanging out for this Pro Expert pre-tournament guide for the East Coast Tournament. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to post them in the comment section below, and we'll answer them as best as I can. All right, have a good day. God bless.